Hello, I'd like to introduce you to a really exciting piece on the new Grade 8 piano syllabus, and that's Thunder and Drought Season. This would be a great piece to put right at the end of your programme. What a great finish to a performance. It's full of fireworks and of course thunder and lightning, but also lyricism and real warmth. And perhaps the difficulty of the piece not only lies in approaching each of those sections, but in actually forming a really cohesive performance that feels thought through and really storytelling. We can hear some of those different sections in the music straight away at the start. If I just play you the first 18 bars, you'll hear so many different gear changes. But it starts with the music that comes straight from the Cantonese opera. It's reflecting sort of folk idioms, it's got pentatonic sounds, as well as Western musical ideas juxtaposed really beautifully. Ending there with real delicacy, but my goodness, what a lot is going on in those first 18 bars. And as I say, we've got to develop all those different ideas, but also stick them together really effectively. One of the things that we have to do there in bar 11 for a couple of bars is produce a lovely singing warm tone with the right hand over the top of a lighter left hand accompaniment. And that voicing and balancing hopefully is something we'll have begun to develop in our pupils already, but something I find really helpful with that is to play the accompaniment silently and to really work at producing a lovely tone in the more awkward melodic hand. Something like this. So although I'm playing the left hand silently, I'm really thinking about how I would play each note for real. And that allows me then to develop a more musically responsive sense of voice when I actually play it properly. As well there that I'm using some pedal to really add warmth and colour to the tone. That's something that's not mentioned in the piece. For me it's really got to be there. How we use our pedal is very much of course therefore up to us, and I think important to allow our pupils to experiment and to get some really good responses from the pedal. Really think about that. But for me it's a mixture of two things. It's adding warmth but also helping the brilliance actually, because in some of the more virtuosic areas it can really add sparkle, particularly if we think about how we might release the pedal at the top of some of these runs that we'll hear later on. Now this moves us to a more thoughtful and lyrical middle section, but again we've got these swift gear changes. Sometimes we need also to add a sense of our own interpretation, add a few extra tempo changes. There are plenty marked into the copy that of course we must honour. But for example, in bar 39 going into 40, I've got one of these really brilliant bars where I've then got to come out of that into something much more lyrical. Let's have a listen to that. So as well as the marked diminuendo, I'm really needing to put the brakes on a little bit at the end of that. This is one area, by the way, that I'd be tempted to block out the chords to help me with those tricky moves down the piano. So actually really working at making those moves much faster with block chords to help me feel ease when finally I put the quintuplets back in. Later, however, there's one area where we really don't need to do anything. We've got something magical and beautiful followed by one of the areas in the music that's low and heavy and staccato and has to be really robust sounding. A time where we need to keep our arms nice and free and the wrist elastic, but the fingers really firm to produce a sort of heavy agitato sound. So you can hear that really swift gear change there, and I didn't do anything other than the marked writ and then just moving straight into the fortissimo. Now from there we really reach the final section, which is all about fireworks and brilliance, a really exciting ending, marked with a long crescendo and a stringendo poco a poco to an agitato. Now it's important therefore that we don't start that section too fast. we could be over ambitious there and really not quite manage to get a sense of stringendo in our playing. Again, I would be thinking of blocking out the positions that I'd be moving in, particularly towards the end, and I might rearrange how the hands tackle some of the arpeggiated sections. I think it's absolutely fine to do that. We all have different strengths and weaknesses. For some people, they might find a longer arpeggio would be easier. For others, they might prefer that sort of approach, as I do. So I think that's fine, but I would certainly block it out. Type of work, so just really kind of blocking out where the hands are moving before trying to fit all the notes in. So let's listen to this final section. When we reach the very end, there's again that rather lovely heavy quality in the octaves, the thunder really arriving, and then a sense of celebration at the end.